Hello everyone, welcome to our next project pan update video. I am Kristina. If you're new here, then welcome. I can't remember what number we are on updates, but this is our first one after hitting a year mark of doing this project pan. And in this video, we're going to talk about the progress I've made on my current products. We're going to talk about the things I'm changing because it wouldn't be one of my project pan videos if we weren't making a little tweak here and there. And then after all of that, I thought that it would be really fun to kind of take you guys behind the scenes and have you come along with me while we kind of pick out new products to add to our project pan. So if that is something that you guys are interested in, then let's get started. At least at the time that I'm filming this, it has been about 7 weeks since our last update video. So these numbers are going to kind of reflect that for you guys. Now we do have 11 products within our project pan, and we have 2 empties and then a couple things that I'm going to kind of cycle out of here. So in our last video, I said that I was going to include some usage goals versus just trying to finish everything up. This was actually a recommendation from you guys, and I said that I was going to try to hit a weekly goal of using each product that I made usage goals for, but then you guys told me maybe you should just have like an X amount of times that you want to use this before kind of cycling it out, and I actually thought that that was an even better idea. And the reason I think I'm going to kind of change it a little bit is because it makes a lot more sense for my collection. You guys know that I was kind of feeling a little weary about some of my products, mainly because I have a lot of products that I'm constantly testing and a lot of products in general that just don't get enough use because I'm always testing something new or I'm trying to like use what's in my project pan. So to kind of alleviate that pressure and make it make more sense for my collection personally, I'm going to use a product 20 times or 50 times before I take that product and swap it out with something else. And this will allow me to still get a good idea of each product, and at the same time it'll help me be more mindful about using other things in my collection. Last time I got a little counter, a little tracker, so I have each product here that I wanted to make usage goals for, and I clicked it every time that I used it. So we're gonna go over that. I actually think that this is way better than like writing it down somewhere. I'm still kind of playing around with the best method, but so far this method has been very helpful for me. So let's first go over the progress that we've been making, starting off with our Laura Mercier pressed powder. This is the Ultra Blur Translucent, and you guys, look at her. Oh my gosh, look at this. You guys may not agree with this, but I'm gonna call this a pan. I'm gonna call this empty. We have a little sliver right here and then maybe like a tiny little bit right there. I may just go ahead and use the remainder right here, but I'm not going to save this for our next update. This is finally an empty. So let's go over our thoughts on this. I love this finishing powder. I use it specifically as a finishing powder, not necessarily to set down the face. I'll go in with a separate loose setting powder, and then at the very end I will use this and dust it all over my face. I think it really helped with oil control. I think it made my skin look very, very blurred, and it was a really great blotting powder as well because it never got cakey. It didn't like emphasize and stick on top of itself really weird. It always just looked kind of airbrushed. Really, really love this. I would absolutely 100% get this one again and use it up again probably. Next we have the Glossier Buff Lip Liner. So my goal for this one wasn't a usage goal. My goal was just to finish this one up. I do have some photos here for you guys to see what our progress is looking like. There is a teeny tiny difference in length. There really isn't like too much. I was almost debating on if it was even worth it to make a new line, but it was because it was still a little bit less than last time. I still love this lip liner, but I think the reason why I'm slowing down a lot with my lip liners in this project is strictly because I have a ton of lip liners that I have been cycling through. A lot of them were existing lip liners within my collection, but I also purchased a couple of new ones that I'm really liking. So in saying that, I'm just not reaching for the same lip liners every time because I really am trying to come up with new color combos and just playing around with my collection. So it has been a slight difference with this one. I'm going to keep it in here though. I still use it fairly often. I'm just not using it up at the same rate that I was before. Now, unlike that Glossier lip liner, we have the Makeup Forever Anywhere Caffeine Lip Liner, and this one pretty much stayed the same. I could have sworn that I used this one more than I used the Glossier one in the last 7 weeks, but I guess not. I still really like this one. The reason why I want to keep this in my project pan is still the same reason why I added it. I want to finish this up so that I can justify getting the brand new formulation for the lip liners from Makeup Forever. The new ones, the pro ones, I think are longer lasting and they have a little bit of that film forming bond that helps it stick to the lips, whereas this one does not necessarily have that. I think it's a pretty good staple. It's not too dark, it's not too light, it's like right there in the middle where it's like the perfect contour color. I think maybe I should start using this like as an eyeliner or something, because this is technically a multi-use pencil. So I think to see a little bit more of a change in it, I need to start using it in other areas of my face. But with that being said, I'm not tired of it yet. I still think that it's beautiful. I love this color. It's really great to line the lips, but I also really enjoy just filling in my entire lip with this. Also, on that note, I feel like it's really interesting because Makeup Forever came out with artist crayons, the really chubby crayon sticks, and the Anywhere Caffeine in that line looks way more taupey than this. I think that this one kind of looks more pinky brown, whereas that chubby stick looks more of like a grayish beige type of thing. I think Wherever Walnut in that line looks more similar to this than Anywhere Caffeine does. Next we have our Surratt eyeshadow quad. This is the Beyond Beige eyeshadow quad. You guys know my love for this one. So in our last video, we set a usage goal for using it twice a week, but since I'm changing it to a fixed number, that would be, if we're thinking 7 weeks, it would be 14 times that I would have had to use this. So I did track this one in my little tracker app, and it says that I've used this 10 times in the last 7 weeks. So I think what I'm going to do is keep this in our project pan and use it 4 more times. So we hit that twice a week or 14-time use. And then I'm going to rotate it out strictly because I have been feeling kind of intimidated by my eyeshadow palette collection. And I feel like putting myself in a corner where I have to use one quad for X amount of like weeks is kind of, it's making me feel kind of like nervous or anxious about. Even though this is such an easy quad for me to use, I kind of want to force myself to use more of the powder eyeshadow quads that I have. And in doing that, I also feel like it'll help me when it comes time to declutter. I'll be able to tell what works for me, which ones I truly want to keep in my collection and which ones I want to pass on. So because I know and love this one and I can always go back to it, I think I am going to kind of branch out and try to add a new palette to my project pan. So 4 more times and then we're going to switch it out. I will probably make that switch before our next update video, so I'm just letting you guys know. Same with the Charlotte Tilbury cream eyeshadow. I added this one to my project pan originally because one, I love this one and done eyeshadow. It is probably one of the most perfect one and done cream eyeshadows that I own. And also too, it is very old, so I wanted to get the most use I could out of it. And I did set a usage goal for this one as well. It was to use it twice a week. So again, that's going to be 14 times. And according to my tracker, I used this 8 times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this 6 more times and then I'm going to rotate this one out as well. Pretty much for the same reason. I think I need to reach into my collection a little bit more and I don't want to feel boxed in or anything like that. Okay, our Haus Labs Fire Moon blush. I mean, this one basically looks the same, you guys. I made a usage goal for this too because I just wasn't seeing anything visually, so I felt like being able to count how many times I used it would make it a lot better. So my usage goal for this one was to use it 3 times a week, and my tracker actually says I only used it 9 times in the last 7 weeks. So that is quite low in my opinion. And honestly, you guys, I think I'm going to rotate this one out. This was, if not in our original lineup of products in our project pan when we started it, very near close to the very beginning. And almost every product that I added at the very beginning around the time this one was added, I finished up already. So I don't know, I'm not feeling too good about this one. And I think again, it has to do with the fact that I have so many blushes coming in, or ones that I'm purchasing, that I'm testing out, that I'm trying to get to know a little bit better. And because of that, I'm just not reaching for this blush as often. And I think I also just want to play around with other formulas and, you know, see how I feel about them. So because this one has been in our project pan pretty much for over a year now, I think it's about time that it go. I'm still probably going to reach for it though, because I do every once in a while still reach for it and like dab a little bit on, whether I wear alone or I add it with another blush. But this one I think is going to be exiting our project pan as well. Next is our perfume, the last standing perfume in our project pan. This is the Lake and Sky 1111 fragrance. Love this one. I love how clean it smells. I love that it has a little bit of that skin scent to it. It's a great layering fragrance, but even by itself, it is truly wonderful. So this one I had use it once a week. So I actually used it once a week. I used it 7 times since I started tracking it. So that's perfect. I'm going to keep it in just because this one really is such a good layering fragrance and I'm constantly reaching for it anyways. But I think I'm actually going to make a little line right here so we can see the difference. I'm going to put it down and then I'm going to make the line. All right, so it's going to be moving around. You can't really tell, but our line is right there. I know I'm moving it around, but that's where it is. So we will see how it moves throughout the next couple of weeks. Next is our concealer from Milk Makeup. This is the Future Fluid Concealer. And if you guys caught my empties video, I did finish this one up. This one is completely empty. There is a little bit of product right down the bottom and I could probably scrape it out. But you know what? I was noticing while I was using the last bits of this that there was more oil than there is like actual creamy pigment now. So the texture is a bit different than what it used to be. And I know that because I have a new one that just feels way different. And this was giving me less coverage because there was a little bit more of that oily content to it. So I'm calling this one done. I took the stopper out and everything and we scraped the sides. This concealer served me so well. I mentioned before that this one was kind of like, this concealer creeped up on me. I had it for quite some time before I started using it regularly. I don't know why I didn't start using it right away, but when I did start using it, I loved it. It's so good as an all-over complexion product instead of using foundation, completely skipping that and using this by itself. It's also really great as a concealer. I mean, it's creamy, it has medium, almost high coverage to it. It doesn't crease, it doesn't like cake up. It sets down really well. It just always looks so good. There's a lot of product in here as well, so you really do get the best bang for your buck when you use this and if you use all of it up. I'm glad that we were able to utilize it within this project. Next is something that I actually added in our last update video. This is the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Bronzing and Shaping Serum. I have this one in the shade medium and we made our mark on it last time and you guys can probably see right here, we have seen a little bit of a decrease. I've been reaching for this one a lot. I really enjoy this liquid bronzer as kind of a foundational bronzer for other bronzers to go on top, whether that be another cream or another liquid that may be deeper in tone. This one I would say is almost like a half step deeper than my complexion, so it really gives you the most subtle bronze, but because of that, this kind of acts like a really natural gradient from my complexion to my bronzer. It doesn't look as harsh. Everything kind of like meshes and melts into each other. And this is so thin of a formula that I really feel like it actually dries down on the skin and you can layer on top of it with ease. It's so good and I'm still really enjoying this one and I'm very glad to see our progress on it too. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new mark right here so we can see next time how it looks. There you go. There's the new mark. Okay, the Lawless Forget the Filler lip gloss in the shade Cherry Vanilla. Really not much of a difference. If anything, I feel like it looks like it went up for some reason. I don't know why. You guys can see right there. Last time I made the mark, I had the doe foot in there, so it doesn't really make sense why it looks higher. And I swear I like did it to the meniscus of the product. So that's really confusing to me. Either way, no significant difference. If anything, it looks like more. I don't get it. I don't understand. Maybe I messed up. I'm just gonna leave it though and hope for the best. Maybe like once the doe foot went back in the last time I used it, the air bubble, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Oh, there you go. I kind of shook the air bubble out. Oh, okay. Now it's even. I think as I like take the doe foot out and put it back in and stuff, the air bubble moves around the liquid and whatever. So I'm going to have to be mindful about that. But is that progress then? I don't know. Now it looks like it's less. What's going on? I'm going to let this thing settle and then later I will make a mark if there is any change. But if I don't add anything, then that just means there's no change. But I can't say that I remember reaching for this a ton. Maybe at the beginning of the 7 weeks, I was reaching for it quite often, but I can say pretty much definitively in the last 2 weeks, I have not, because I've been testing out a bunch of different lip products recently for another video. So I have not been reaching for this too much, but I'm going to keep it in here because again, I wanted to finish this one up. I have a lot of the Lawless glosses and I just want to be able to get rid of one and like finish one up. And this one is the one that I reach for the most out of the ones that I own. Okay, my LYS bronzing powder in the shade Harmony. You guys know I absolutely love this bronzer. I didn't take a photo when I added it to our project pan in our last update, which kind of bums me out, but I did take a photo today and you can see that there's a little bit of a dip here. Like you can see the pan starting to show up here. So I made a usage goal for this one too, and my usage goal was 3 times a week to finish it up, and it says here that I used it 20 times. So I need to use it one more time to hit that goal. I'm just gonna keep it in because I really like this one. Okay, so those are all the updates for all the products that are currently in our project pan. So we finished up 2. So now what we're going to do is kind of do sort of like my declutter videos. If you guys are familiar with those, we're going to lay out a couple products or a handful of products that I'm considering adding to our project pan. Now we have 5 total products that we're going to be adding. 2 products we're adding because we did empty these 2. So we're going to replace those. And then the third product is going to replace the House Labs blush, and then 2 more products to later add whenever we rotate out the Surratt Quad and the Charlotte Tilbury Cream Shadow. These again, I'm going to use a couple more times to hit that usage goal before we swap them out for other products, but I'm going to go ahead and pick those out now with you guys. Okay, so 5 more products. So that is the goal. All right, guys. So now we have all of our possible additions to the project pan here. So again, we're picking 5 products and I'm going to kind of talk you guys through why I even pulled these from my collection. And then we're going to narrow it down to just 5 products here. So as you can see, I have a good amount of eyeshadow palettes here. Like I mentioned, I am feeling a little overwhelmed by my eyeshadow palette collection. So I definitely wanted to add a different eyeshadow palette in here to kind of get some use out of it. So I guess we'll just start right here. I have 2 Patrick Ta eyeshadow palettes here. So the Major Dimensions 3 is right here. This was the all matte palette. I really like this one when I first got it. Super buttery, really nice. And then it has 2 of the cream eyeshadows right there. And I also have my original Patrick Ta eyeshadow palette. I'm pretty sure this is the original one that he came out with. So same layout and 2 cream shadows right on this corner right here. This is quite an old palette. That's the reason why I pulled that one out. And I have both of them because I want to be able to dip into these. Eyeshadow palettes in general are quite expensive and I feel like I never get enough use out of any of my eyeshadow palettes, and these are probably some of the older ones. And I'm not gonna lie, all of the talk about Patrick Ta eyeshadow palettes like getting moldy and old and stuff freak me out. So I'm like, I probably don't have that much time with these eyeshadow palettes, except mine look fine. They look okay. Like I haven't had any issues with them and I spent the money on them. So I definitely want to use them. I don't know if they're palettes that I would purchase again, which is kind of another reason why I feel like maybe I should add one of these so I can really determine if these are even worth the price point that they're at. While this one feels like the easiest option because they're all mattes and I know I will dip into like most of these shades, this one also is older and I am really enjoying some warmer tones like these and a little bit more of like those bronzy tones. And even when I first got this, I still felt like I didn't use it as much as I should have. So I'm kind of on the fence between the 2 of these, but I did pull these out for those reasons. I'm going to put them to the side here. I have 3 of my Natasha Denona palettes, and the reason why I pulled these out is because Natasha Denona palettes are quite expensive, and I really want to get my money's worth out of them. So we have the I Need a Nude palette, and by the way, I got all of these when there was some sort of sale, whether it was like 20% off at Sephora or Ulta with my Ulta points. I haven't paid full price for any of these, but I still feel like I haven't gotten enough use out of them. So this is the I Need a Nude palette, really, really popular one. I think for this one specifically, the last straw for me, I guess, was that everyone was constantly talking about how this is their favorite Natasha Denona palette. And it's a really good one, but I will say they are all pretty much cool tones, and I'm not much of a cool tone person these days. So with that being said, I also have the I Need a Warm palette right here. This is a really fun one. It is all warm tones, and then you have like a duochrome shifty color right here, like it shifts to green, if you can see that. This one is probably more up my alley. I have played around with a lot of these shades. I haven't really touched this bottom row though, I will say, and I feel like I need to. I feel like one of these needs to go in the project pan. Realistically, I'm probably going to use this one more often, so this one is going to stay as a possible addition, and I'm going to put this one back. I also have the face palette here, the Natasha Denona Glam face palette. This is the light one. So this one has 5 eyeshadows at the bottom. Then you have kind of this highlight color and then a cream blush. I think that this one is really beautiful. I'm pretty sure I purchased this before I bought either of those other palettes. And I think that this one would be fun to have in the project pan because, again, I want to add one of my older Natasha Denona palettes in, but this gives me a little bit more versatility having that cream and that highlight there. I think maybe this one would be nice strictly because it takes away the decision fatigue with deciding what eyeshadows to use, because there's only 5 there. Well, technically, if I wanted to use the highlight as an eyeshadow, there's 6. And having the cream blush would be nice because it'll give me a little variety within my project pan. But I do have a couple of like cream products here that I might want to add. So that is another thing to consider. Let's swatch these colors to see how we feel about them. This is the same formula, by the way, as her usual eyeshadow palettes, from what I can tell. But the pans do look slightly smaller. Wow, those are so good. I am going to be traveling though coming up, so maybe this will be a good one and an easy one to take with me. This is a hard angle to show you guys. And then here is the highlight. The highlight is so buttery smooth. I think it might be fun to have a highlight in the collection. I don't know. This cream blush feels a little bit hard now. Okay, there's the cream blush. Oh, it's a little bit crumbly. Do you guys see that? But there is that palette. It really is gorgeous. I should have been reaching for this more often in general, but definitely considering this one. I love that color. This one right here, I love that. I don't know. I can see myself wearing this. I can definitely see myself wearing this color a lot just by itself. And then I do like both of these shimmers. So definitely considering. Oh, I didn't do the shimmer. Hold on. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. So those are all those shades. So I have a liquid highlight here. This one is from Typology and it's just their glow drops. I don't know if there's a color to this one, but it's kind of just this champagne color and it's super beautiful. Something about this Typology highlight is that it has vitamin C and aloe vera, so there are skincare ingredients in it, and while it does look like a very intense highlight in the bottle, once you get this on the skin, you can really sheer it out to where it looks a little bit more natural. You can see it's a bit on like the metallic side right here, but then when you blend it out, it's super thin and it almost looks like it can act like a very subtle primer type of highlight. I don't know if you can see that. Let me add some more. I'm basically backwards doing these swatches, so it's kind of difficult to get that angle there, but I hope you guys can see. It's like glowy, but not too glowy. It definitely seems like a good way to kind of use the highlights that I have without just straight up being a metallic highlight. So I am considering this also because it's a different product from what I have in my project pan already. But other stick products that I'm actually considering including are these Versed blush sticks. So I got these when Versed first launched their makeup line, and all of these are so beautiful. I have 4 of them. So I purchased 2, I believe, and then they also sent me 2 shades. They're a really great cream formulation. They're definitely like slightly more hydrating, but they're not the most hydrating cream sticks that I own. I'm gonna take these off. So I feel like even though I'm enjoying more so like powder blushes, these can kind of act as my base because they're not too dewy. So here's the shade Pinch, really lovely, kind of warmer pink tone. And then we have the shade Bloom, which is going to be a little bit of like a warm berry tone. Brownstone, which so far has been my favorite because it's sort of like that terracotta, deep terracotta shade right there. That's so lovely. And it can kind of be a bronzer as well. And then lastly, we have the shade Cozy, which is going to be the deepest of the bunch, kind of like a berry tone. And you can see these are incredibly, incredibly pigmented. I mean, they blend really well into the skin as well. They're not super hydrating like, say, the Haus Labs Glassy Bombs. When you blend these out, they're more of like a satin finish, and they set down really well with powder as well. I'm inclined to add one of these mainly because even though they're technically like blushes, I can layer these blushes better with powder blushes, so I'll still get some good use out of them. I think out of these 4 though, I'm more considering that first one in Pinch, just because once that's blended out, it is more versatile, and a lot of blushes that I've been liking recently kind of lean towards this warm beigey pink shade, so I feel like this will layer well. So I'm gonna put this to the side, and I think I'm gonna put these back. Also, another blush product I have is this one from Westman Atelier. I got this during the last Sephora sale, and I got it for 20% off. This is the Baby Cheeks Powder Blush Duo, and I got the shade Suede / Sable. This is what it looks like. It really is beautiful, but I don't know, when I first got it, I did not get as much use as I thought I would. It's not as buttery smooth as I wanted it to be. Like, it didn't blow me out of the water the same way I wanted it to. That color is gorgeous. Like everything I typically love, like something a little beige pink, you know? And then we have this tone, which I thought would be a nice light bronzer and or blush, but I feel like it just doesn't really translate on my skin tone the way I want it to. On my face, it kind of just looks a little dusty, but I don't know. Let's see what it looks like when we mix the 2 shades together. This is both shades mixed. I don't know. I want to add this to my project because I want to get more use out of it, but I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about the formula. So is this going to just take up space in our project? Should I just use this independently from our project pan? I think I will. I think I'm going to take this out of the possible additions. I have 2 more powder eyeshadows that I want to talk about. The Urban Decay, what is this? The Moon Dust Space Cowboy eyeshadow palette. They sent this a couple months back. I think like the end of 2024 maybe. And this has a couple of mattes and then some shimmers, and then Space Cowboy Rides Again right there. And surprisingly, this palette is so wearable. It doesn't look like anything interesting here, but when you actually put it on the eyes, it looks so beautiful. And I remember really, really enjoying this, and then I kind of just forgot about it. So I am considering that one. And then I also have this Nomad Air travel palette, and this one is just such a nice staple. So you have 3 mattes, 3 shimmers here, and if you guys haven't used Nomad Cosmetics eyeshadows, they are so good. Nomad Cosmetics is an indie brand, and their eyeshadow quality is incredible. This shade right here by itself, gorgeous. These are really, really nice. They're not as smooth as something like, you know, the Natasha Denona eyeshadows, but they do apply really well, and they're such good staples. So here are the mattes in that palette. A little bit dusty there, but I don't typically mind that. I don't really care. And then let's do the shimmers. The shimmers feel really, really smooth, probably smoother than the mattes do. They are so good. And I love that these shimmers are all different from each other, so they'll give you completely different looks, but their shimmers are so good. So that is that palette. It packs a punch for sure. It looks kind of like whatever in the pan, but these colors, these tones, so good. And again, this tone right here, my favorites. So I think my strategy right now is if I do one of these, I'm not going to do the other. So if I pick Natasha, I'm not going to pick Nomad, and vice versa. I'm going to go ahead and swatch this palette for you guys too, so you can see what it looks like. I will say these don't feel as smooth as the Nomad ones, but they still have some pretty good pigmentation to them. Ooh, that one is pigmented. And then the last two shades here. So we have that fun like pinky orange shift. And then here is that moon dust shadow, that Space Cowboy Rides Again, kind of like a topper. This one's really pretty. It's not speaking to me as much as the other ones that we swatched so far though. Okay, I think I'm going to remove this one actually. I can still dip into it like I mentioned, but it just doesn't feel like one that I'm going to be excited about using all the time. All right, a couple of complexion products here. So I thought about adding this one. This is the powder foundation from Bare Minerals. It's the Bare Pro one. I have the shade Light 27 Neutral, and I thought that maybe I could use this as sort of a finishing powder since we did finish up the Laura Mercier one. I think it's really good, but I actually feel like Bare Minerals is coming out with another version, aren't they? Like, I think I saw that somewhere. So I'm thinking, do I want to add this? Ooh, but it's so silky smooth. I really enjoy using my Kosas Cloud Set powder as my finishing powder. So I'm a little on the fence about adding one to my project pan just to like add it, you know? I don't know, possibly. This one I'm almost like pretty much set on adding to our project pan. This is the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Water Powder Serum. You guys know I've kind of gone back and forth on this product. So I first got it and I was like, oh, it's okay. So I just kind of had it in my collection, and then everyone started raving about this again. And I was like, maybe I used it wrong. Maybe I need to try it again. And I've been back and forth. Like, I've been using it alone. I've been using it with other primers. I've been using it with the Danessa Blurring Balm. So I really want to make sure that I know exactly how I feel about this, and I have been reaching for this quite often anyways, so I think I'm going to add this to our project pan, and I'm going to do a usage goal for this one versus finishing it up, since again I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. I think I'll set a usage goal of, let's do 20 times, and then we'll rotate her out. 2 cream eyeshadows, because these are quite old and I feel like I want to use these before they completely dry out. These are the Merit Solo Shadows, and I loved these. When these first came out, I was using these cream shadows so often. It does have this kind of like twist top, but if you can hear that, it kind of clicks shut so it doesn't dry out. But these 2 shades I was reaching for so much. These give you a super thin veil of color that looks so beautiful on the eyes. This is the shade Mid-Century, which is like a light medium brown, and then this is Social, which is actually kind of like a taupey purple, but on my eyes they kind of translate as like a light cool brown. Let me swatch them. They still feel quite creamy. Like, I don't think mine have dried out at all. Those are the 2 shades. So here is Mid-Century, and I like applying these with a brush, so they apply a lot lighter than this. Let me kind of like blend this out so you guys can kind of have a better idea. Very creamy, and like I said, I feel like I want to get more use out of these because I have heard people say that theirs kind of like dry out and crack and stuff, and I was like, I don't want that to happen before I like really use this up. So I'm considering adding one of these. I do have more Patrick Ta. Some of these are pretty old and I want to use them. I feel like with my recent love for powder blushes, it makes sense to add another powder blush, but then this has a cream, so there's versatility, and I just kind of want to move some of these out of my collection, really decide which ones like are worth keeping. I did spend good money on these, so I want to like get my money's worth, you know, before I like just not buy them again. But this one broke actually. They sent this one to me in PR and I had to like press it back, which I think messed up the texture of the powder because it kind of like hard pans on me. Like, you can kind of see, do you see that? Yeah, I think it's kind of messed up and it doesn't really swatch that well, which is such a bummer because I like that shade a lot. So I have Just Enough, which is this like baby doll pink. I don't have many shades like this in my collection because I just don't wear shades like that often. We have the shade She's Blushing. I think maybe this was the first one I added to my collection. The hinges feel really loosey-goosey here. This one, by the way, the one that had broke, is She's Seductive. And then I have She's the Moment, which is more of like this bright peach. And a fan favorite, I think, is Not Too Much, which was an addition. I think these three came out at the same time and I did a video on them. Oh, and they did send me this one too, and She's Vibrant. Ooh, yeah, she is very vibrant. So I don't think I'm gonna add this one because I just can't see myself using that often. This one bums me out because, again, I think that the formula is kind of messed up, and because of that, I feel like I won't reach for it or want to reach for it a lot. So I think I need to figure this whole situation out before committing to it. So I'm just going to take that out for now. So we're left now with these colors, which these are so similar. And then these two colors. So here is She's Blushing, and then here is Not Too Much. Not Too Much is more pinky, while She's Blushing is more of a warm pinky tone, like a pinky brown tone. So there is more of a difference there than there is in the pan. And then let's swatch these two bright colors. So She's Vibrant. Whoa, that is so vibrant. This feels completely different than these do right now. I wonder if my formula is just like going bad now, which would stink because I don't think they're that old. Okay, so here is She's Vibrant, and then She's the Moment. This one's kind of speaking to me. This one's kind of fun. Like, I love these and I would probably reach for these a lot, but I just bought a couple new blushes that are similar in tone. So I know I'm gonna want to reach for those versus these so I can test out those new formulas. So I think I kind of would go with this one actually because it's a little bit different. And I have been liking more peachy tones recently. So I'm gonna put these back, and this one will be the one that we consider if we add one of these blushes. And then lastly, you guys, we have some Fui pudding pots. If you saw my recent K-Beauty lip product swatch video, I did mention that I have a lot of these, and it made me realize that I have too many. So I need to dip into these more. And these are not only good for the lips, but you can also use them on the cheeks. So a lip and cheek product in one. So I have my little form here because some of these are in Japanese. I bought them when I was in Japan actually. Like this one, RD03. This is in the shade Faded. All of these are beautiful. You can watch that video if you want to know my more extensive thoughts about them, but they're very great if you like more of that blurred lip look, and on the cheeks they're really beautiful too. So here is the shade Faded. Such a good color, and look at that blur, so pretty. And then we have the shade Lyrics. They just feel so nice and moussey. They really remind me of the Maybelline mousse. Like, do you guys remember they had like a mousse foundation and concealer? It reminds me of those. Ooh, so nice. I love that color. It's a bit warm. Like sometimes it pulls a little orange on me, but I do like it. And then we have RD04, which is going to be Fave. I mean, it looks like a blood red, but on the lips, if you blur it out, it looks so beautiful. And it has some brown tone to it too. How gorgeous is that? And then lastly, we have the shade Greedy. And this one caught me by surprise. I actually don't know if I had used it that much before doing that swatch video. But when I put it on, I was like, wait a second, that is beautiful. It's kind of purpley, but it can kind of pull a little bit red. Like all of those, are you kidding? They're so beautiful. I think for versatility's sake though, I think Fave is gonna be the one that I reach for the most. So I'm gonna consider adding Fave to the lineup. Okay, you guys, I narrowed it down to these products, and I actually picked 6 because I didn't realize that I only had 11 products in my project pan, and I'm giving myself 12 spots. So I have an additional one, and it made it a lot easier because towards the end I was picking between 2 and I was like, I don't know what to do. So I just added both because I made that realization. So like I said, Danessa Myricks powder serum, we're adding this to get better. We're adding this to get a better idea. I did go with the Natasha Denona Glam Face palette because, like I mentioned, I will be traveling a little bit, so I think it'll make it better or easier for me to actually use this as part of my project pan. I think I'm going to make it a goal to use this, let's say like 15 times. We're going to start more conservatively so I can see how I feel about it. And then I know I said that I was probably not going to add this one if I did the Glam palette from Natasha, but it's just so pretty, so versatile. And like I mentioned, I will be traveling, so I feel like I'm more inclined to bring a smaller palette like this anyways. I'm going to say we'll use this 15 times as well and then see where we're at from there. The Patrick Ta blush, I did add this because again, I want to move some of these out of my collection. So again, we went with the shade She's the Moment. We're going with Fui Fave because I just put this on my lips and cheeks just to make sure I liked it on both, and it's gorgeous on both the lips and cheeks. And then I picked the mid-century shade of the Merit Solo eyeshadow, which is going to be that like mid-tone brown. I think these are going to be really good additions. Oh, my usage goal for these. Let's do... I feel like I'll use this quite often, so let's do 20 times of use for that one and then 10 times use for that one, because I feel like I don't want to overload myself with blushes and I'm constantly using other lip things. So we're going to go very conservative with our products right now. And I'm doing it lower versus going higher because again, I'm constantly rotating in and out products and I'm testing new products. So it doesn't make sense for me to make a usage goal of like 50 or 100 before I move it out, because who knows how many times I'm going to be able to use these. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty confident about this. I'm excited to see where we get, and I'm excited to have some really good ideas of how these are going to do. And I'm excited to have even more of an idea of how I feel about all of these products. All right, guys, that's everything for our Project Pan update. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope you guys enjoyed that portion where I kind of take you guys behind the scenes and we pick out the products together to add to our project. I think it is really fun to kind of switch up how we do these updates instead of just being like, I use this product up and I use this 5 times and I use this many times. It's just really fun for me to come up with different ways to make it a little bit more interesting for you guys. Please let me know in the comments down below how you guys are doing on your project pans. I love when you guys share with me how you're doing and if you've started one or if you're considering doing one. And if you guys need any sort of inspo or you're just interested in my personal project pan, I will leave our playlist right here for all of our updates that we've done thus far. But until next time, you guys, please take care of yourselves and I will see you very soon. Bye.